afternoon, and thanks for joining us on the New News. I'm Diane Parker. Miller has the work week forecast, plus Montana's governor is taking a serious look at the housing shortage here in Montana. But first, our top stories. New details are coming to light on last week's I-90 pileup near Hardin. The youngest of the 6 people who died was just 3 years old. 21 vehicles from 9 different states and a Canadian province slammed into each other after drivers were caught in a blinding dust storm. We're looking at that video right now. In total, 29 people were involved in this pileup. Along with the deceased, 11 people were injured. Officials have yet to release any of the victims' names. However, Bozeman company Crosscut posted online that its founder, Eric Love, was killed and his wife, Jackie, was injured in that crash. 3 people, including an 18-month-old child, are dead after a Sunday night shooting in East Glacier. 2 women were also flown to a hospital for treatment. Their condition and involvement in this incident is unknown at this time. The FBI says there is no search for any suspects and there is no threat to public safety. No other details have been released at this time. Montana's 2022 congressional races are rounding into form. Republican nominees Ryan Zinke and Matt Rosendale are holding on to firm fundraising leads. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian brings us an update.
The latest congressional fundraising reports cover a month and a half, just before and just after the June primary. And they're giving us our first update on the financial picture in those races since the candidates for the general election were finalized. In Montana's Western Congressional District, former Congressman Ryan Zinke, the Republican nominee, raised more than $790,000 over that period. At the start of July, his campaign had almost $920,000 on hand. Democratic candidate Monica Tranel's campaign brought in more than $370,000, and they had more than $215,000 available at the end of the period. In the Eastern Congressional District, incumbent Republican Congressman Matt Rosendale brought in the most in the latest period, nearly $140,000. His campaign has more than $1 million on hand. Independent candidate Gary Buchanan raised the second most. He collected just over $40,000 and has nearly $70,000 on hand. Penny Ronning, the Democratic candidate, brought in more than $15,000, and her campaign has just over $10,000 available. There's also a Libertarian candidate running in each of the 2 congressional districts. In the East, Sam Rankin has reported using only his own money for the campaign. In the West, there was no fundraising report available as of Monday for John Lamb. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Happening tomorrow, a task force begins a series of meetings with the goal to discover why there is such a lack of affordable housing here in Montana. Governor Greg Gianforte put together the bipartisan panel, and members are set to meet a number of times before presenting their findings to the governor in December. The task force is made up of a broad swath of individuals who have expertise in all areas of housing. The chair tells us they hope to find more than just answers, they want solutions.
So our population has gone up and our housing supply is outpaced by how many people want to live here. What that results in is a challenge for supply and demand, and also cost of housing is outpaced a lot of people's income, and that's a very significant challenge that the governor has identified.
Members say at some point during the process, there will be opportunity for the public to give their input to the task force.
Area of low pressure with a cold front shooting out the back end of it, exiting the region. So across the area today, more seasonal temperatures. Really a nice day on the way, and even these projected highs, even though we're looking at 80s and 90s, some of us getting into the 90s because of that drier air, it actually may feel cooler than what the actual daytime highs are calling for. You can see a lot of sunshine today, clear skies. We'll go with a high today of 89 in Helena, 91 in Missoula, 82 in Kalispell along the High Line. Havre trying to hit near 90, 90 in Glasgow, Williston cooler at 82. 89 in Jordan, 88 in Miles City. We'll go with a high of 90 in Billings. West Yellowstone, a high of 81. We'll see 80s and 90s maybe down in northern parts of Wyoming. There's that area of low pressure dragging wind with it. High pressure keeps us dry. When's our next chance of rain? I'll let you know coming up.
Parents and residents in Uvalde, Texas continue to demand accountability after a new report detailed the failures by law enforcement during that school shooting back in May. During a special school board meeting yesterday, many asked for the superintendent and police chief to step down. Some say they are hesitating to send their children back to school without significant changes. The Biden administration will keep an eye on Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to Iran today. Putin's foreign affairs advisor called Iran an important partner for Russia. The statement follows allegations by the administration that Iran could provide Russia with drones capable of firing weapons in its war in Ukraine. Today, the House will vote on legislation to protect same-sex marriages. The Respect for Marriage Act repeals a law still on the books that defines marriage as a relationship between a man and a woman. The proposal follows the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which caused worry the conservative High Court could overturn other rights. Well, every 2 years, Malmstrom Air Force Base changes hands. Today, Colonel Barry Little took command of the 341st Missile Wing from Colonel Anita Fugit-Opperman, who is heading to the Pentagon to become an assistant deputy director on the Joint Staff. MTN's Brianna Juno was there for the change of command ceremony.
It's the end of an era.
Thank you for all of that. I will never forget this opportunity. Thank you.
For one missile wing commander.
My time in command taught me that if something or someone is worth it, you should fight for it. Fight for your people, help and support them. That's what we do as leaders.
But as one leaves, another comes in to carry on the mission.
It is an absolute honor and privilege to be entrusted with the command of one of the most powerful combat wings in the greatest Air Force on Earth.
Every few years, Malmstrom undergoes a change in command. Colonel Barry Little will serve as the next missile wing commander, and he's come a long way from his start of his service.
So, you know, it's interesting because I joined the Air Force at 27 and I went to officer training school, and no, this was not in the life plan of the 27-year-old me. It's a privilege, it's an honor, it's a great responsibility.
Among his duties as new commander in charge, Colonel Little says that Malmstrom can expect his respect and support.
You've got the mission. I've got your back. Thank you.
I've got your back means I'm going to empower our airmen to do the mission, to get the job done. I'm going to clear obstacles. I'm going to get them the resources they need and create the organizational climate and culture that they need to choose the Air Force as their method of service.
A third-generation serviceman, Colonel Little is excited to embark on his mission of a lifetime right here in Montana.
Wow, I'm feeling excited. I'm excited to be here. This is a fantastic community. It's been a great welcome coming in here. Honestly, being entrusted with the command of one of the most powerful combat units in the greatest Air Force on Earth is humbling. It's really given me pause, taking a deep breath, but feeling excited about being here.
In Great Falls, Brianna Juno, MTN News.